Can you say something about the differences in making science, in the methodologies, making science, and the styles?
Oh, the styles of science. I think we think of science as a homogeneous way of doing, and it's true that today we are in an internationalization of research, and people travel from America to France, etc. But for a very long time there were some schools of research, local schools, and French for institutional reasons, for philosophical reasons, for background reasons. We're not doing exactly the same as the English, and also for economical reasons. You know, in England you had all this coal industry and you had mining. In Germany you also had mining places.
And is that still true today?
So I think it has been very true for a very long time. It's still true at some extent because I think that the field work, the field is different in different geographical places.
The geological landscape,
and
the rock formations.
Yes, and all the problems they ask. So people are more, for example, in France, people are more prominent in the study of human paleontology, paleoanthropology, because there's a lot of remains which they don't have in the United States, so they can't very much deal on these
But
issues.
the Americans, they travel everywhere to study
They
that.
do travel, and they do use that, but locally there are still some prominent, I'm sure in the south of Italy, volcanology is much a discipline, much more than it is in France, for example.
And attractive, because there are also a lot of geologists from all over the world. They go to visit attractive places.
Yeah. And you were speaking about oil industry and oil geology. I'm sure that in Texas, where you work, there is much more interest in oil geology than there is in countries where there's no oil. So I think I would say there are styles of research. Of course, they tend to blur now because there is such an internationalization of issues and knowledge. But I think as historians, we should also be interested in that.
And should we keep the difference in these styles, or are we going to lose something with this globalization, or we should just let it go?
I have no norm to point on this. I think it did exist in the past. It will probably continue existing. The uniformization of methods and knowledge is not total. And for example, even in the trends of history of science, there was this very strong impact of science in context, from the English and the Americans. But in France, we continued being epistemologists and having a more internalist view on the history of geology. So I think there are, in the history of science and in the sciences, there might be for a long time still some local